Hello everyone, welcome back to Tekpon. Today I'm here with Robin from SmartCue. Hello.
Hey, Christian.
Please tell us more about SmartCue. How do you help people?
All right. So SmartCue is a sales effectiveness platform for enterprise sales teams. We help sales reps move away from vanilla cookie cutter product demos for their prospects to personalized product demos so that they can accelerate their sales cycles. With SmartCue, sales leaders can bring consistency in their demo pitches, improve their conversion rates, and gain insights on how to continually refine their sales demo process.
Mm-hmm. So what's the biggest problem that you solve?
Yeah, so so the biggest problem that we help solve is helping sales reps avoid, very boring feature vomit type of product demos when they're doing product demos of their products to their prospects, right? By personalizing their product demo, we help these sales reps take their prospects to the aha moment faster, right?
Okay.
So it's a win-win for both. The prospect, who quickly gets to see how the sales rep really solves their problem, and for the sales rep, the opportunity is qualified faster and moves faster through the sales funnel.
Okay, it
Does
makes
that
sense.
make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
So you
Cool.
accelerate the process and cut out the unnecessary things.
Yeah, well, it's definitely about cutting out unnecessary things. It's the simple 80-20 principle, right? So if Christian is a prospect of mine, if he comes to me, he probably is dealing with a problem that he wants to solve, right?
Mm-hmm.
The first thing and the most critical thing that I as a sales rep needs to do is to show Christian how my product can solve that problem. Everything else is just gravy.
Yes.
Right? It's like, okay, Christian doesn't really care. You don't care that, oh, my product has AI, my product has intelligence and analytics. All you really care about is, does it solve
solving
my
the problem? Yes.
Right? And that's what we are trying to enable sales teams to be able to do with SmartCue.
Mm-hmm. What are the top 3 features that you have?
Okay. All right. So this may be a little bit abstract, but really there's 2, I think, very key features to SmartCue, and then one of them may have 2 parts to it. So let's start with the first one, which is the first key feature for us is simplicity, right? And the reason I say that is because sales reps and a lot of the time sales engineering teams can create their demos lightning fast with SmartCue. Right?
Okay.
No more spending hours and tons of resources for every custom demo request that comes to them from a prospect or from the sales team. And that is a huge problem currently in any enterprise sales teams, right? The second is related to simplicity, which is, I think SmartCue has the simplest learning curve, right? Our North Star for the product has always been, how can we add value to a sales team by fitting into their existing workflow rather than forcing them to learn a new tool and spend hours on training and onboarding and integration, right?
Yeah.
And that actually has been our North Star right from day one. And if you ask me for a third feature, is I will say insights, right? So all these years, when you think about it, sales leaders have always known, okay, how many meetings has my sales rep done in a given week? But what they did not have an insight into is how much time did the rep spend giving a demo versus on the slide deck versus chit-chatting, right? More importantly, when your sales rep is giving a demo, how do you know that your sales rep is actually following the playbook that you and the team created, that this is how we should showcase our product? Which module and feature does the sales rep spend most of his or her time on? What is resonating with the client versus not? Those are the kind of insights that SmartCue can provide, which are invaluable to any sales team.
I understand. I saw on your website that different teams can use SmartCue. Can you tell us more about
that? Sure. Yeah. So, our obvious and primary use case is for sales teams, so that you can sort of deliver demos which are contextual and relevant to your target audience. Now, the same framework can actually be used internally by product teams. When you think of a new joinee, right? A new employee that's coming in, how is the traditional onboarding done? They're like, okay, here, watch a video, check out this PowerPoint,
yes.
Shadow a couple of salespeople. Someone from the product team may give you a demo, may not. And then if you're a little bit more mature, you're like, oh, we have a cool LMS system. Why don't you go in and there will be, at the end of reading and watching all of these videos, you will have a multiple choice question. And if you answer all of them correctly, we will say, quote unquote, that you are certified, right?
Yeah.
Now, the problem is through all of this, the new employee has not ever used the product, the actual product that you want to sell,
yes.
or want the employee to understand. With SmartCue, you can do that, right? And not just like, oh, here are the 20 features that my product has, but take it a step forward and allow every individual, every employee to understand what is the value proposition of my product or of a particular module or specific feature, and how does that actually resonate with different audiences, right? So the training and onboarding becomes very, very contextual and very powerful, right? So now when a new employee goes in front of a customer, they not only know how the product works, but they also know what is the value that the product provides for this prospect.
Yes.
Right. And so especially in enterprise companies where it takes about 4 to 5 months for perhaps a sales rep to quote unquote be market ready, with SmartCue, you can actually shorten that to a few weeks.
Nice.
Right.
Nice.
So that's I think that's a very powerful second use case, right? And finally, and if you want to take it a step forward, we've had some of our customers sort of use SmartCue as a train the trainer platform. That we as company X have sold our product to company Y. Now, how do we ensure that company Y is fully trained and onboarded on our product? How do we create a training module that ensures that they are getting full value out of our product? And so they've actually used SmartCue to build out sort of training modules for their companies, right? So those are some of the early signs of multiple different problems that we're potentially able to solve that we're seeing.
Regarding what you said earlier, you can't sell something that you don't understand it yourself. Yes.
Absolutely. You said it exactly.
Yeah. Let's talk a bit about the pricing plans. Do you offer a free trial?
Yes, we do. So we offer a fully featured 2-week trial for anyone that wants to come in and experience the product. And after that, if you're a solopreneur or a creator or a very small team, we have very affordable sort of creator plans. And also for our fellow startup founders, we have a startup plan. We know your pains, and we would love to work with all of my fellow founders who are growing and scaling their businesses. And of course, we have enterprise plans for some of our large enterprise customers with decent sized sales teams of 15 or more folks. But yeah.
And what are your integrations? What are some software that you integrate with?
So early days for us, but as a sales effectiveness platform, a no-brainer for us is to integrate with CRM tools, right? Because at the end of the day, every sales team wants to be able to track and link back every sales activity back into their CRM to be able to run analyses on them and be able to sort of determine the value and effectiveness of not just every tool that they have in their arsenal, but also the performance of their individual sales reps, right? So that is an integration that we have. We're actually coming up with a ton more, including integrations with like a Loom. You will soon be able to sort of export out a lot of your demos or demo libraries out into like PowerPoints or PDFs or just dynamic URLs, so that you're able to share it with your prospects, even post your call, there's a leave behind and things like that. We're looking to integrate with tools like LinkedIn and a lot of sales intelligence tools out in the market. We're in discussions with some large sort of LMS providers to sort of partner up and integrate into their products as well. But a lot happening. It's early days.
Yes.
But yeah. That's where we are.
That's great. When did you start the company, and how did you come up with the idea?
Man, that is a interesting question, and so the company essentially started in like October of 2021, right?
Okay.
So not too long ago at all. But really, the genesis of the idea would have started, I want to say, about 10 years ago, because as background, right? I have spent most of my professional career as a solutions consultant or a solutions architect in a lot of enterprise software companies, right? I was always part of sales functions, but my team was responsible for what was back then called sales training, but nowadays has transformed into this buzzy term of sales enablement, right? Back then it was just sales training or sales readiness. But even back then, I sort of watched as sales reps really struggled to do justice to the products that we were selling because they were doing vanilla cookie cutter demos. My team and I, we implemented a number of different solutions, whether it's like LMS solutions or even product walkthrough tools, but none of them really worked in ensuring that we had standardized product demos, right? So the big aha moment for me was during one of these sales offsites where we were supposed to enable or train all of the sales folks. One of the sales reps, she came up to me and said that, hey, Robin, this fancy efficiency tool that you're trying to deploy, it really only is trying to improve the efficiency of my boss. But for me and for all the rest of us, it really is only adding friction to my workflow. And that was a big sort of light bulb moment for me, right? And sort of fast forward to 2020, I'd sort of moved back to India, the pandemic hit, virtual selling is now so much more commonplace, right? And now a side effect of virtual selling is that sales reps can no longer just wine and dine or schmooze their prospects to a deal. You now have a short 30-minute Zoom call to convince your prospect that, hey, your solution or product really solves their pain points. And because of that, your product now has to shine. Product demos, which were critical back then, are now even more critical in the sales process.
Yeah,
right.
Makes sense.
So yeah, I mean that really, it's a long-winded story, but that essentially really was the perfect storm for me to try and solve this problem of standardizing yet personalizing product demos, right? Yeah. And then I tried to learn from some of the mistakes that we made, some of the observations that I saw, and the key thing that came out for me was that if I am to build any sales effectiveness product for sales team, the bedrock has to be that how do I reduce or eliminate friction and fit into a sales rep's existing workflow and build something that is sales rep first. Because if I don't, the odds of sort of adoption will go down drastically, because now I'm forcing a salesperson to like learn a new tool. And if you know the industry or the space, there's always new tools out there, right? Always a fancy new tool. But yeah, so that's the genesis of the company, so to speak.
With all this marketing, people may think that you come up with the idea and in 3 months the product is ready, you have 50 employees and all that. But in reality, you had the idea for over 10 years, and you saw the problem continue to happen, and that's the reality.
True. I know. Exactly. You only read the cool stories on the blogs and on the internet, but in reality, it is a slow, not always glamorous journey.
So what's your vision for the product? What other upgrades do you plan to implement?
So I mean, um, in terms of vision, right? If we really talk about the vision, we try and not think about feature functionality specifically, right? Like I said, right? We try and go back whenever we're building anything that, is it staying true to our North Star of adding value by fitting into the sales rep's existing workflow, right? That's always the question we ask whenever we're building something new, right? And what we really want SmartCue to become is we really want to be the second brain for the sales rep, right? Think of Jarvis for Iron Man, right? So that's the vision really, that whenever a sales rep has anything that they need to do, which to sort of move their deal forward, they are interacting with SmartCue in some form or the other, right? We in the long run, we hope that SmartCue can, become a verb like Salesforce, or more recently Loom, right? Anytime you're trying to do a demo, a pitch, a training, and onboarding, we want sales teams to just SmartCue it. But that's my answer to my vision, right? Hope that's helpful.
And what's your tool stack for the company? I don't know, what CRM do you use internally? What project management tool do you use? Or what tools do you use for your company?
So look, so we're like very, very early stage, right? And we try to, our inclination is to deliver faster, even if it is at the expense of fewer processes, right? But having said that, in the past couple of quarters, we have Zoho as our CRM, and then we use ClickUp pretty much for everything related to product, right? For communication, obviously, we use Slack like every other company out there. But yeah, that's the sort of sales stack, if you will, or not just sales stack, just the tech stack at the company. If you want to know more about the product tech stack, I mean, I can give you, like, it's based on JavaScript, so it's a pretty lean tech stack. So React, Next, Node, backends on Postgres, hosted on AWS, but yeah.
I was curious about the software that you're using, because I thought with the podcast we can also help people. So let's say 8 out of 10 founders says they use ClickUp for their project management.
Right.
It's something,
Yeah, for sure. So ClickUp is great. I actually love ClickUp, and I think the other tool that I personally use and that I now swear by, as startup founders, we do 1,000 things, but we can't really afford an executive assistant. But I use a tool called Motion, not Notion, but Motion.
Motion.
Right?
Okay, I'll check it out.
Motion. I think you should. So it's basically a Calendly or a calendar management product, and I love it. Like, I mean, I started using it a few months back, and it really has become, my smart assistant, like my Jarvis.
For the past weeks, I've been searching for a calendar app to use the time blocking technique, if you heard about it. But I didn't manage to find something that I like. So maybe I'll give Motion a try.
Yeah, you should.
Okay.
You should.
So let's talk a bit about you before closing the podcast. I'd love to hear more of your backstory, how you started all your career.
Okay. All right. So yeah, I know. I think that size shows you how old I am, I guess, right? Because I have to go back over a decade now. But I have a computer science degree from here in India, and then I got an MBA from Willamette University out in Salem, Oregon, in the U.S. Post my MBA, I spent 10 plus years with startups of various sizes. All in the B2B SaaS space, selling to enterprise clients, mostly in the US. My role at these companies, like I said, was, always at the intersection of sales and product. So solution consultant, solution architect. I think, that's kind of my journey. I mean, the one thing that I'd say is that it's a little bit unconventional because I was never a great student. As an engineering student, it was always, especially when you live in India, you have,
it's a
if you want
pressure.
to be if you want to be the ideal son, you either become an engineer, a doctor, a chartered accountant, right?
Yeah,
I
I've heard
picked,
about that.
yeah, right. So I picked I think the easiest of the three. But I was never great at it, and I kept thinking that I always had an entrepreneurial bent of mind. I come from an entrepreneurial family. My father's always had his own business and things like that, and I was like, man, that's what I want to do. I don't know if I want to, like, spend my life in a room, just coding. I like people. I think I have a way with people. And so I was like, all right, I think I need to do an MBA. But everyone was like, well, you're never going to get into a B school because you're such a bad student. I'm like, well, we'll see. Right. And
Yeah,
I
great,
also
great
realized
for
that I
you.
was like, yeah, I realized that, I didn't want to live in India either to get my
Hmm.
MBA, because again, I would always be compared against
Yes,
all of
yes.
my
So you
really
needed
smart
to leave
friends.
the
And
place.
yeah, and so I gave my GMAT and I got into Willamette. I got a full scholarship, which actually no one in my family, I think, till date believes that I did. They're like, that's not possible. Like, Robin getting a full scholarship, it doesn't make sense. But yeah, man. And so that really is the backstory to how
I
um,
love it. I love it. I hope
I
it
got
inspires
out. Yeah.
people. Yeah, I love it. Great story. And one last question. What's
Yeah.
one piece of advice for someone who wants to get started in sales?
Ooh, if you want to get started in
So let's say
sales,
me, I want to become an BDR or an SDR.
right. So I think the biggest or the best quality that you could have is be persistent,
Okay.
right? And be okay with no, because as glamorous as a sales role sounds, it is 100 no's before a one yes, right? And
Just like here.
exactly. There you go, right? And that I think is the key to being a good salesperson, is that how do you filter out the negativity and the noise, and then really just focus on the big picture and the outcome, right? Um, Obviously, you have to be a people person. You have to like people to be a good salesperson, right? Be able to relate to them. Um, but yeah, I mean, breaking into sales, so I'll say this, right? So breaking into sales or being a salesperson is not hard. Being a great salesperson is damn hard,
I
right?
get it.
And while you hear of these Steve Jobsian kind of people who like use their charisma and sell something, but I think the greatest salespeople also have a process
Mhm.
combined with rigor and this really thick skin and bullheadedness that really takes them ahead, right? In front of the pack.
I understand. I understand.
Hopefully that can help, right? I mean, these are some of the learnings that I've had by looking at some great salespeople around
Yeah.
me, of trying to sell for the past year with SmartCue, trying to sell alone as a solo founder,
Hmm.
right? So yeah, hopefully people can find some inspiration from it.
And is there anything else that you want to tell us today?
Uh actually, I will say one thing, right? So like I said, I am a solo founder, and that comes with its own set of challenges. So while I've been lucky to have a great support system, I now definitely realize the value of having a co-founder, or at least a really good second in command who is on this wild ride with you, right? Having to deal with the ups and downs as a solo founder is fine, but I know what I will not ever do with my next startup is go solo again, right? So that's I think one thing that I will leave you with, is that if you can,
Okay.
have a co-founder.
But can't you do it right now? I don't know.
Yeah,
Isn't there any way?
I can, I absolutely can, and I'm looking, but it's always it's it's not the same.
Yeah, as
Right?
starting from
It's
zero, you mean, right?
yeah, exactly, right? It's like when the two or three or four of you like have the germ of an idea together, like you kind of grow
Yeah.
with it together. It's very different from
Mhm.
having an idea and then finding someone to buy into it, right?
Uh, yeah.
So that's always a challenge.
I
Yeah.
hope you can find someone and find the right terms to do it. And yeah, I wish you all the best.
Thank you, Kristen. I appreciate it.